Hello and welcome back. The poem which we are going to discuss today is The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Talking about Robert Frost, he was born on March 26, 1874, and he died on Jan 29, 1963. This poem, The Road Not Taken, was part of the book, which was a collection of many poetry, and the name of the book was Mountain Interval. The poetry was published in 1916. Talking about Robert Frost, he had incredible command over American colloquial speech. He had the examination he had done the examination of complex social and philosophical themes in majority of his poetry and writing. Other famous works of Robert Frost are A Boy's Will and North of Boston. He had won many awards. Two of them are Pulitzer Prize for Poetry and Congressional Gold Medal. Coming back to the poem, this is the first stanza. As you can see, we have 5 lines consisting of this poem, and talking about the rhyming scheme, you have wood stood both growth. So you have wood stood could both growth. So the rhyming scheme can be called as A, B, A, A, B. Okay, because A is wood, stood, could, it is rhyming together. B is both, growth. These 2 lines are rhyming together. So, talking about the poem, the first stanza of the poem, this first stanza talks about the writer, about the journey which he did not do. It is like two roads diverged in yellow woods, and sorry, I couldn't travel both. So he's just one person and he could travel only one path. So it is like the depiction of the life whereby we have decisions to take. So we cannot sail in 2 boats. You have to choose one decision and you have to go ahead with that. For example, if we like science and arts both, but in order to study, we have to choose one stream. So throughout the poetry, he's talking about the decisions which human being take, and according to that, how their life changes. So this poem, it signifies a situation where the poet Robert Frost, he's walking down a road which has a diversion, which is divided into 2 parts, and he has to choose one path because he's just one person and he cannot travel in both the paths. The wood which is in front of him is yellow, and it represents world full of people who had been residing in these who has been residing in these woods for years, as in the decision which he is going to take had been taken earlier by many people. And so he has example in front of him that okay, if you take this life, if you take this decision, this is the way your life is going to be, or which path to choose. But he is still under a dilemma, as in which road to take, which decision to take in his life, because of course he cannot take both, he has to take one. Therefore he is writing, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one far as I could, as mean he looked at the future, that if he takes this decision in his life, what will happen, which road this road will take to, where would be the journey, how would be the journey, what would be the end. So he assumed as far as he could. He looked till the place his eyes could see, to where it bent in the undergrowth, as in it became dense and he couldn't see further. So whenever we take decision in our life, we do think that what would be the future. Till the time we can think, we think about it. Now the second paragraph says that the poet, he stood standing at the fork whereby the two roads were diverged, and he looked at the path very carefully. So when he saw it, he thought that which would be suitable for him to walk down. So he was able to see the path till from where it got curved, and he couldn't see, it was covered with trees, and thus it was hidden. So he looked at one path for a very long period of time to decide whether it is good for him or not, and then he took the alternative path. But while taking that path, he realized that both the paths are equally good. He felt that the path which he's chosen, that might be better for him, because the path was grassy. That shows that not many people have walked through that path, because if the people starts walking through that woods, the leaves wouldn't be green, it would become black in color. So he thinks that, okay, this is the path hardly any people have taken, so let me choose that path on which the people have traveled less. So he says, then took the other just as fair. As fair means when he compared both the path, he thought that both the paths are equally good. So when we are in dilemma, when we are choosing the decision, when we are choosing our life, which decision to take, that time we also think that, okay, both the decisions are giving me equal opportunities, and having perhaps a better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there had warned them really about the same. So he thought that, I will take the path in on which very few people have traveled, because there might be a lot of opportunity. And when we are young, we think that I am going to bring changes in the world. So perhaps the poet was thinking that. So he decided to take the path on which very few people have traveled. But when he started walking on that path, he realized that both the path had been taken same, in the sense he thought that the path which he is taking, on that path very few people have traveled, but it isn't like that. Both the paths have been traveled by equal, not equal, but substantial amount of people, because when he started traveling, he realized that it had been worn out. Like when he traveled further, he realized, looking at the leaves, that yes, the people have traveled on this path before. So it isn't like that he was doing a thing which nobody had done before. And then he says, and both the morning equally lay, like both was both looked similar in the morning, both were having leaves on them. No one had stepped on that, thus they were all green. So he decided to move into that path. So sometimes in the future, he is thinking that maybe, um, I will think about coming back and taking the path which he had left. So he's telling, oh, I kept the first for another day. So he's thinking that sometimes I will come back. I will come back and I will take the path which I have not taken. This, we also think that, okay, I'm passionate about this thing. Let me go ahead and do what I'm passionate about. And then I will come back and I will choose that stream also. So again, it is depiction of the life, how we go ahead, how we take our decision, how we think about our future. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. And now he's speaking practicality of the situation, that once we go ahead in the journey of our life, it becomes very difficult for us to come back and take another path, because we are burdened with the responsibility. We think that we have already invested so much of time about the decision which we have taken. We have already worked so far. So it becomes really difficult to come back and start from the zero again. So that is the thing which the poet is telling here right now, that although I think that I will come back and take the path which I have left, but I highly doubt if I will be ever able to come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. See, in the life, whatever decision we make, that decision shapes us. So we should be very careful about the decisions which we make in our life. We have to be very wise, we have to be very careful while making the choices, because your choices will shape your future. And once you make the decision, it is very difficult to change it and restart it. One bad decision could make us regret throughout the life. One good decision can make our life beautiful. So it all depends on the choices which you make today. That is what he has written, and that has made all the difference. The decisions which he took, that has made all the differences in his life. So it is the clear depiction of the life. The poet is telling that whenever you are taking the decisions in your life, you have to be very careful, because that is going to be your future. You will become what decision you take in your life. So here is a very short summary of the road not taken, what I already depicted, what I already discussed, that it is about the predicament of a person who is standing at a road with detour. This distraction represents actual circumstances of our life where we are bound to take decisions. So there are moments in our life where we have to make difficult choices, but we have to be very careful in making those choices because that is the one which shapes us. So, motivated by our aspiration, we make decisions that are made by the smaller number of people. We believe that if we don't pursue success, we'll have the opportunity to turn around and start over, but hardly it happens because we have gone too far. Furthermore, one choice could be the catalyst for us to develop about the amazing individuals which we are going to become. So, consequently, the summary of the road not taken centers on choosing wisely throughout the life. As I discussed, the rhyming scheme is ABAAB, and the symbolism, like the two roads, it is representing the choices which we make in our life. There is another word called anaphora, that is the literary device which is being used here. So you can see in the first paragraph we have and. So there is a difference between refrain and anaphora. Refrain is when the entire sentence is repeated after a certain interval of time. For example, it is repeated here and then at the end of the second paragraph and at the end of the third paragraph. That is refrain. But anaphora is the repetition of word in the beginning of the sentence, as you can see, and. So it is usually done to make an emphasis. We have alliteration, that is repetition of the sound, like in line 8, wanted where, line 13, first for. These are the key points that we have the evaluation of two paths. So we have to be very careful while choosing the path. So it reflects that one day poet will tell this story with a sigh. So sigh in the sense it could be a relief or it could be the sigh that I made a wrong decision. So he declares that he took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So he took the road, he pursued his passion, and because of that, he is what he is today. That is it for today. I hope you liked the explanation. Do write me in the comment box if there are any other poem which you would like me to discuss. Thank you.